Welcome, Ross.
Thanks for having me, David.
All right, so you are the specialist on college education planning. Thank you. This is an area that a lot of advisors may not focus on, so it's very helpful for us to talk about it with you. But people have a lot of questions in this area. The first one I want to start with is for families trying to figure out basically how to pay for college or even who's going to pay for it. How do people approach that?
Yeah, there are a lot of options out there, and that's the good thing about college planning, where that may not be the case if we're talking about another big financial goal, such as retirement planning, right? So that's often one of the questions I get from families is, well, what should we be saving for? What should be a priority? And the good thing is, whether we're talking about how can maybe students help contribute to the cost, how can parents, grandparents, there's a variety of options out there. So such as maybe a 529 college savings plan is a good one, or maybe some other non-conventional vehicle, such as maybe a Roth IRA, in which we usually think of that as a retirement savings vehicle, but it has some use in the college planning process as well.
Okay, so for a family going, well, you know, I paid for my own college, you can pay for it, or on the other extreme, somebody saying, we're going to pay for everything, you just get good grades, and you get into the school, and we're going to make sure you're going to have your education. You know, how do people, you know, make that decision or figure out what's right for them?
Yeah, that's a great question and a very common question. And the answer to that is there is no right answer. And so that's what I try to tell families that, hey, whether you want to pay everything, whether you want to pay maybe for 2 years, maybe you put a requirement that, hey, you need to have a certain GPA and we will continue to help pay. Yeah. It doesn't matter. The advisor's role is to provide objective advice to help the client achieve whatever goal they're trying to accomplish.
Well, and that was going to be my other question is the role of the advisor, you know, and I admit I don't do a lot of college planning for my clients. We certainly can talk about general strategies, but so I guess that might be the first thing is if somebody's going to work with an advisor on college planning, they need to know how to do college planning, right? They need to know the options. But what does the advisor do in that process? Is it acquainting them with the choices or even telling them their opinion about how you should do it?
Yeah, I would say what they probably don't want to do is enforce their own philosophy or their own opinions on it. So it really doesn't matter how maybe the advisor paid for their own kids to go to school or what they've seen other families do. They need to help the client or the family achieve their goals. A couple of things that really they should be focused on is really being that quarterback of the team. We've kind of heard that of being a CFP, right? You're helping communicate with accountants and attorneys. It's the same thing here because whether a family wants to pay for 4 years or 2 years or whatever, communication is the key. That the parents and the students are on the same page, that the grandparents and the parents are on the same page. That's also often something that doesn't happen where grandparents maybe want it to be a surprise that they're helping pay for college, but that can actually have some negative financial aid consequences. So making sure everyone's on the same page while providing objective advice should be their goal.
Okay, that's good. Do you see that happen fairly often where the grandparents all of a sudden they're like, well, we didn't want to tell you, we wanted to be surprised, here's all this money or whatever the case may be, and it might mess up the rest of the plan that the advisors worked on with the parents?
Exactly, I have seen that, but it's always been with good intentions because you know there has been that rule where if grandparents decide to pay tuition directly to the college, well, it's not a taxable gift, so that's maybe a popular estate planning tactic. However, that can have negative financial aid consequences. So once again, if the grandparent's advisor isn't communicating with the parents or the parent's advisor, that can have some unexpected consequences.